I unlocked the front door of our suburban home, excited to surprise Emma after cutting my business trip short by 2 days. The house felt different immediately. A strange cologne lingered in the air, and an unfamiliar jacket hung by the door. My heart raced as I called out her name. When she appeared from our bedroom, her face drained of color. That night, after hours of denial and tears, she finally confessed. My wife was pregnant, with her colleague David's baby. My world collapsed around me as I stood there, somehow still breathing. Before I continue this painful story, let me know where you are watching from in the comments. Hit that like and subscribe button if you have ever had to rebuild your life after betrayal. Trust me, what happens next changed everything. Emma and I had what most people would call a storybook romance. We met during our junior year at the University of Washington. I was studying computer science while she pursued marketing. Our first encounter happened in the campus coffee shop when I accidentally spilled my latte on her economics textbook. Mortified, I offered to buy her a new one, and somehow that awkward moment blossomed into love. We dated for 3 wonderful years before I proposed during a sunset hike at Mount Rainier. The look of joy on her face that day became my most treasured memory. After an intimate ceremony with just family and close friends, we began building our life together. For 7 years, we seemed to have it all. I landed a great job as a software developer at a growing tech company, while Emma climbed the ranks at a prestigious marketing firm. We saved diligently and eventually purchased our dream home in a quiet Seattle suburb, complete with the white picket fence and backyard garden Emma had always wanted. Every morning we would have coffee together on the porch before work, planning our future and counting our blessings. Weekends were filled with hiking trails, trying new restaurants, and spending time with friends. Everyone in our circle saw us as the perfect couple who had figured out the secret to a happy marriage. However, our picture-perfect life hit its first major obstacle when we decided to start a family. Month after month of disappointment turned into a year, then 2, then 3. Medical tests revealed that while there were no obvious issues with either of us, conception would be difficult. We jumped into fertility treatments, spending thousands of dollars on procedures that insurance barely covered. I picked up overtime and traveled more frequently for work projects that paid bonuses, all to afford the next round of treatments. The emotional toll was devastating. Emma would cry when her period arrived, and I would hold her feeling helpless and inadequate. Sex became scheduled and mechanical, centered around ovulation charts rather than passion or connection. The joy slowly drained from our relationship as the pressure mounted. We both wanted a child so badly that everything else became secondary. With my increased travel schedule, Emma spent more time alone. She mentioned a new team member at work named David, who had been helping her with a major project. At first, I thought nothing of it, even encouraging her to build strong professional relationships. She began staying late at the office more frequently, citing tight deadlines and important client meetings. There were more company dinners and weekend workshops than ever before. Looking back, I should have noticed the warning signs. Emma bought new clothes and paid more attention to her appearance than she had in years. Her phone became a closely guarded possession, always face down and password protected. When I suggested weekend getaways to reconnect, she always had a work commitment that could not be rescheduled. The physical affection between us dwindled until even a goodbye kiss felt forced and perfunctory. Still, I never seriously suspected infidelity. I trusted Emma completely and believed we were just going through a rough patch that many couples experience when dealing with infertility. I planned more date nights, bought her favorite flowers, and even arranged a surprise weekend at the resort where we had honeymooned. Each time, Emma found a reason why the timing was not right. The week before my discovery, I had a business trip to Chicago scheduled for 10 days. 3 days before I was due to return, we completed the project ahead of schedule. Instead of extending my stay or telling Emma I would be home early, I decided to surprise her. I bought her favorite wine and a bracelet she had admired months earlier. I imagined rekindling our connection and perhaps finally breaking through the wall that had formed between us. I never imagined that my surprise would reveal a truth that would shatter our marriage forever. The cologne and jacket were just the beginning. While Emma showered, I noticed her phone light up with a message. I had never invaded her privacy before, but something compelled me to look. The message preview from David Work read, "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again tomorrow." My hands trembled as I unlocked her phone, knowing her password from when she had asked me to check directions once. The message thread confirmed my worst fears. Not only had Emma been physically intimate with David, but they had also developed deep emotional connections. They exchanged "I love you" texts and made plans for future rendezvous. Some messages referred to how they would meet when I was traveling for work. Others discussed their guilt but justified their relationship because they could not fight these feelings. When Emma emerged from the shower and saw me holding her phone, her face told me everything I needed to know. At first, she tried denial, claiming it was just flirtatious banter between colleagues. When I scrolled to more explicit messages, she broke down, sobbing uncontrollably on our living room floor. It started. 6 months ago, she confessed between sobs. We were working late, and he was so understanding about our fertility struggles. He listened to me in a way I felt you had not been able to lately. One thing led to another. I stood there, eerily calm, despite the hurricane raging inside me. "Is there anything else I should know?" I asked, my voice sounding foreign to my own ears. Emma looked up at me, her face contorted with guilt and fear. "I am pregnant," she whispered. 8 weeks. The timing made it impossible to be mine. We had not been intimate in almost 3 months due to a failed IVF cycle and the emotional fallout. The cruel irony crushed me. After years of trying to conceive together, she had effortlessly become pregnant by another man. "Does he know?" I managed to ask. "Yes," she said, "but he wants nothing to do with it. He transferred to the Chicago office last week. He said he never signed up for this kind of complication." Emma crawled toward me, grabbing my hand. "James, please. I made a terrible mistake. I still love you. We can work through this. Maybe this is our chance to have the family we always wanted." I pulled my hand away, feeling disgusted by her suggestion. "You want me to raise the child you conceived while betraying me?" That night, I packed a bag and checked into a hotel. The next day, I found a small month-to-month apartment across town. I needed space to think, to process the nuclear bomb that had detonated in my life. Emma's betrayal felt like a physical wound, a knife twisting in my chest with every breath. Emma refused to give up easily. She called daily, left tearful voicemails, and sent long emails explaining her regrets and promising to make amends. Twice I found her waiting in the lobby of my office building. Once she convinced my mother to let her into my parents' home during a Sunday dinner she knew I would attend. Each time she begged for another chance, rubbing her still flat stomach and talking about our future. Friends and family had divided opinions. My brother thought I should divorce her immediately and never look back. My parents, devout Catholics, gently suggested forgiveness and pointed out that this might be my only chance to become a father. My best friend Alex recommended counseling before making any permanent decisions. Everyone had an opinion about what I should do with my broken life. I began seeing a therapist, trying to navigate the tsunami of emotions that threatened to drown me. Some days rage dominated everything, and I would go to the gym and punish heavy bags until my knuckles bled through the wraps. Other days, profound sadness left me unable to leave my bed. The therapist helped me understand that these reactions were normal, that grief comes in waves, and that betrayal trauma requires time to process. 3 months after moving out with Emma, now visibly pregnant and still calling daily, I made my decision. I contacted a divorce attorney and filed the papers. When I told Emma, she collapsed in tears, claiming I was abandoning her when she needed me most. The guilt was almost unbearable, but I knew staying would slowly kill whatever remained of my self-respect and dignity. The divorce proceedings lasted longer than our courtship had. Emma contested everything, dragging out the process in hopes I would change my mind. Meanwhile, we had to sell the dream home we had lovingly furnished together. Each possession we divided felt like another piece of our history being dismantled. The garden Emma had planted would now be enjoyed by strangers. The custom kitchen island where we had cooked weekend brunches would serve another family. As her pregnancy progressed, Emma became more desperate, using her condition to generate sympathy from our social circle. She told mutual friends I had abandoned her, and my child, conveniently omitting the affair and paternity truth. Several people I had considered close friends sided with her, sending me messages expressing their disappointment in my behavior. The isolation intensified my pain. 6 months after Discovery Day, I hit rock bottom. The divorce was finalized, but the emotional aftermath continued. Sitting alone in my Spartan apartment, surrounded by half-unpacked boxes and takeout containers, I drank whiskey straight from the bottle. Emma had called earlier, now 7 months pregnant, crying about doctor appointments and nursery furniture. In my alcohol-induced haze, I almost called her back, almost gave in to the familiar pull of our history together. My phone rang just as I reached for it to call Emma. It was Thomas, a college friend I had not spoken to in years. He had heard about my situation through mutual acquaintances and wanted to check on me. Thomas had survived a similar betrayal 5 years earlier and recognized the dangerous moment I was in from his own experience. "The only way forward is to completely reinvent yourself," Thomas told me during our 3-hour conversation. "Your old life is gone. Building something entirely new is your only option." His words resonated deeply. That night, I poured the remaining whiskey down the drain and began planning my resurrection. I had always dreamed of starting my own company, but had been too comfortable in my corporate job to take the risk. Now, with nothing to lose, I decided to launch the cybersecurity firm I had conceptualized years earlier. Seattle held too many memories, so I relocated to Portland, where a budding tech scene offered opportunities for my new venture. I found a small commercial space and a modest apartment nearby. I cut all contact with Emma, changing my phone number and email address. The only updates I received came through my attorney, who informed me when her son was born. The first year of my new life was defined by relentless work and personal development. I poured every ounce of energy into building my company, working 18-hour days and reinvesting all profits. I also focused on physical health, joining a boxing gym where I could productively channel my lingering anger. Therapy continued, helping me process my trauma and develop healthier thought patterns. I even tried meditation, finding unexpected peace in the daily practice of stillness. By the second year, the business gained traction. We secured 3 major clients and expanded to a team of 8 employees. My focus and determination impressed investors, who were drawn to both the technical innovation and my personal story of resilience. A small feature in a regional business publication brought attention from larger potential clients. With stability returning to my professional life, I cautiously attempted dating again. The first few attempts were disasters, as I projected my trust issues onto innocent women. One promising connection ended when I panicked after finding her texting late at night, assuming the worst without cause. After that incident, I took a step back and focused more intensely on healing before trying again. Nearly 3 years after the divorce, I met Sophia at a pharmaceutical technology conference where I was speaking about data security. Brilliant and driven, she approached me afterward with insightful questions about implementing my security protocols in medical research databases. Our professional conversation evolved into dinner, where I learned she had her own history of heartbreak. Her fiancé had died unexpectedly from an undiagnosed heart condition 2 years earlier. Something about Sophia felt different. Her transparency, her direct communication style, and her own experience with profound loss made her uniquely capable of understanding my trust issues. We proceeded slowly, both carrying our respective emotional baggage, but willing to be patient with each other's healing process. As our relationship developed, so did my company. A major contract with a government agency established us as a significant player in the cybersecurity field. Business publications featured our innovative approach, and I was invited to speak at major industry conferences. Financial success followed, bringing security I had never imagined possible after the economic setback of my divorce. Through mutual friends, I occasionally heard updates about Emma. She struggled as a single mother, eventually moving back to her parents' home in Idaho. David never acknowledged his son and provided no support. According to those who remained in contact with her, she often spoke of me with regret, claiming I was the greatest loss of her life. 4 years after my world imploded, I proposed to Sophia during a private dinner at the botanical garden where we had spent our third date. She said yes immediately, and we began planning a small, intimate wedding that reflected our shared values of authenticity and meaningful connection. 7 years after signing my divorce papers, my life bore no resemblance to the one I had shared with Emma. Sophia and I had been married for 3 years and had twin daughters Lily and Grace, who had just turned 2. My company had grown beyond my wildest expectations, now employing over 100 people with offices in 3 cities. We were preparing for an initial public offering that would value the company at several $100 million. One ordinary Tuesday morning, an email appeared in my seldom-used personal account, the one I had kept active only for old financial records. The sender was Emma. After 7 years of silence, she had reached out. James, I hope this message finds you well. I have thought about you every day since you left. Life has been challenging as a single mother. David has never met his son Jackson or provided any support. I recently lost my job, and we are facing eviction. I hate to ask, but is there any way you could help us? Maybe we could even meet to talk about old times. I know I made terrible mistakes, but people can change. Jackson is a wonderful boy who deserves better than what I can provide alone. Please consider reaching out. Emma. Attached was a photo of a young boy around 6 years old, with Emma's eyes and smile but darker hair that must have come from David. The child looked happy despite the difficult circumstances Emma described. That evening I showed the email to Sophia. Our relationship was built on complete honesty, so I shared everything, including the conflicted emotions the message stirred in me. Sophia, with her characteristic wisdom, listened carefully before responding. "What do you want to do?" she asked. "Whatever you decide, I will support you." After several days of contemplation, I made a surprising decision, even to myself. I contacted my financial advisor and established an anonymous college fund for Jackson. The boy had done nothing wrong and deserved opportunities regardless of the circumstances of his birth or his mother's actions. I responded to Emma suggesting we meet at a neutral location, a cafe halfway between our cities. I was clear that the meeting was not about reconciliation, but about finding a way to help her son. When the day arrived, Sophia encouraged me with a kiss and reminded me how far I had come from the broken man I once was. Emma looked older than her 38 years when she arrived at the cafe. Life as a struggling single mother had left visible marks of stress and hardship on her once vibrant face. When she saw me, her eyes filled with hope and something else, something that made me uncomfortable. She had clearly imagined this meeting as a potential beginning, rather than the closure I intended. "James, you look amazing," she said, reaching for my hand across the table. I politely pulled back, keeping a respectful distance. "Thank you for meeting me," I said formally. I wanted to discuss how I might help Jackson. Emma's face fell slightly at my businesslike tone, but she quickly recovered. "We have really been struggling. I thought, maybe, well, I always hoped that someday you might reconsider. We had such a good life together. Before I ruined everything." I took a deep breath, carefully choosing my words. "Emma, I am happily married, with twin daughters. My life has moved forward, and I wish the same peace for you. I cannot change the past, but I would like to help Jackson. He deserves opportunities. I explained the college fund I had established in Jackson's name accessible when he turned 18. Additionally, I offered to cover 1 year of rent to give Emma stability while she searched for new employment. The assistance came with clear boundaries, a one-time arrangement with no ongoing personal involvement. Emma's expression shifted from hope to disappointment to reluctant gratitude. "Why would you do this after what I did to you?" she asked quietly. "Because holding on to anger and resentment only prolonged my pain," I explained. "True healing came when I learned to let go. This is not about you, Emma. It is about a child who deserves a chance, regardless of how he came into this world." As we finished our conversation, I shared one final thought. The most surprising move is not revenge or reconciliation, but finding peace on your own terms. I forgave you years ago, not for your benefit, but for mine. That forgiveness freed me to build a new life filled with authentic joy. Before leaving, I suggested something that surprised even me. I invited Emma and Jackson to meet Sophia and our daughters at a nearby park the following weekend. It was time to completely close this chapter with compassion rather than lingering bitterness. That weekend meeting proved more healing than I could have imagined. Watching our children play together while Sophia and Emma engaged in polite conversation, I felt the last fragments of pain finally dissolve. The journey from devastating betrayal to this moment of peaceful coexistence represented everything I had learned about resilience, forgiveness, and the power of choosing your own path forward. Have you ever found peace by helping someone who hurt you? Share your story in the comments below. If this journey of healing and redemption touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories of overcoming adversity. Share this video with someone who might be struggling to move forward after betrayal. Thank you for joining me today. And remember that sometimes the most surprising move is choosing to write a new story rather than remaining trapped in an old one.